Android Marshmallow is coming to devices soon, and just like every new Android release, it's important to make sure that your app is up to date and ready to be installed as soon as the upgrade rolls out. My name is Rich Hindman, and I'm here with a quick update to using the developer preview to get ready for launch. Let's jump right in. The Android M Developer Preview 3 consists of the final Android 6 SDK. It's got documentation, sample code, and near-final emulator and device images. We've incremented the API level to 23 now, so you can upload your Marshmallow targeted apps to the Play Store and make use of the alpha and beta channels. If you've been following along through Dev Previews 1 and 2, then this update is pretty incremental. We've enhanced the permissions user interface and behavior, and also updated the Fingerprint API to give a better enrollment experience, enumeration support, and improved error reporting. You can check the API differences doc for full details. If you've not already flashed a device to the developer preview, then it's worth pointing out that you should grab the latest SDK first. Open up Android Studio. There's no need for preview or canary channels this time, as we're on the Final SDK. So head straight into your SDK manager. You have access to the final Android 6 APIs and the latest build tools, so you can target API 23. Whilst you're there, you should update to the new Android support library as well. It contains a number of new support libraries, including custom tabs, percentage-based measurements, recommendation, and preferences. And you're all ready to go. If you're starting a new project, you can choose Target SDK API 23 and ignore the fact it says Android 5.x. We'll fix that before the actual release. If you're updating an existing developer preview project, you now switch in your build from using Android MNC as your SDK version to 23. You can also head to the AVD Manager if you want to set up an emulator. Select a device of your choice and use the API 23 x86 images for best performance. OK, back to the device images. So, ensure your data's backed up and follow the steps in the preview guide. If your bootloader's locked, then you'll have to unlock it first, so ensure if you're on a Nexus 6 or a Nexus 9 that OEM unlocking is enabled in the developer options. Then ADB to reboot into bootloader, run fastboot OEM unlock, which is also going to wipe your data. Then you're going to go to the system images and execute the flash all script. It's going to update your device's bootloader, baseband, firmware, and OS. Then, to be secure, it's recommended to lock your bootloader again with fastboot OEM lock. It should be smooth sailing, and if you do hit a missing system.image error, then you're probably not using the latest SDK tools. Now you have an Android M device for testing and a preview emulator. As always with new releases, we have some changes in behavior that you'll need to test out. You can find them all on the Behavior Changes page on the preview site. First up, a deprecated API that's been removed. If your app or any of the libraries you use rely on the Apache HTTP client, you're going to need to make a small update to include it in your build and declare it as a compile time dependency in your build.gradle file. If your app targets Android 2.3 or higher, I would highly recommend switching to the more efficient HTTP URL connection class instead. Next up, we have Doze. If a user leaves a device unplugged and stationary for a short period of time, with the screen off, the device is going to enter Doze mode. It's going to try and stay asleep until the device is disturbed. Restrictions will apply to your app in this mode. Wake locks are ignored, sync adapters can't sync, scheduled alarms are deferred, and network access is disabled. You can enable some of these, so check the documentation on power-saving optimizations for more details. To test Doze mode, we have ADB commands here. There's also App Standby mode, which can detect and defect inactive apps, so check that out as well. Excitingly, Runtime Permissions are here. They provide less friction on install and automatic app updates, but you can no longer assume that just because your app is installed, all its stated permissions have been granted. Permissions are granted at runtime, and users can revoke permissions on a per-app basis at any time, even for legacy apps that aren't targeting Android M. For testing, we have more all-new ADB commands for parameters for granting permissions, revoking permissions, installing apps with all the permissions granted. Check out the permissions guide on the preview site for details. Always check that you have a permission before trying to use it, and request it if you don't. If there's a set of permissions that your app needs, like camera access for a camera app, it can be worth requesting them in a warm welcome up front. Next, Android Auto Backup. It's a new service designed to simplify building a robust data backup service for developers and improve the lives of users. Up to 25 megabytes of data is backed up per app. Watch Matthew's video for full details. If your project targets M, backup will be automatically enabled, and there are a couple of things you should be aware of. If you have any data you don't want backed up, like device-specific or encrypted data, then the easiest thing to do is move it into the Get No Backup Files directory. You can also specify an inclusive or exclusive backup scheme, or opt out altogether. For testing, there are new ADB Shell Backup Manager commands, and, as I say in the M Preview build, auto backup is enabled for all apps. For the M release, we will only do it for apps that are targeted M or higher. It's also worth mentioning that for testing we have new Fingerprint APIs and the new ADB Finger Touch command to go along for simulating fingerprint input. Check the preview site and Mayer's video for full details. So we're on Preview 3. We're on the home straight to the final release, so please ensure your apps are ready. Check out the preview for other features like App Standby, adoptable storage, data binding, text selection, and the very powerful app linking. Test now while you have time, and you can give us feedback in the Android M developer community on Google+. So that's Android Marshmallow, something harmless and lovable that could never possibly run amok in New York and destroy us. Ah.